Hi, welcome to Voices from the Streets. I'm Sandy Griffin.
And I'm Erick Cunningham.
Today, this is our very first podcast, and I'm here with Erick, and we're talking about homelessness. Now, Erick moved to Nashville about 6 years ago.
Yep.
And I met him shortly after he moved here. Erick, where did you move from?
Ohio, a little small town near Dayton called New Carlisle.
And what brought you here?
Well, I had wanted to come for a long time because I just have this strong desire for music. I love music, and I've always heard that there was a good base of Christians here in the music industry, and I just imagined coming down and getting involved with a group of believers and serving in some kind of ministry and just being involved in music somehow.
And so what were you doing prior to moving here? What were you doing in Ohio?
Well, at the time I was working full-time at a convenience store, and right before I left I was working part-time at a Subway.
And did you have a house there?
Yeah, I had to sell my house in about 2008, and for a time I was living out of my truck, working third shift at a convenience store. I actually didn't work at Subway yet. I'd sleep during the days, like in a park or in a cemetery, in the back of my truck, and then work at night.
And were you doing this by yourself?
Actually, I had a dog that some friends gave me. They had rescued the dog from the pound. They were moving and couldn't keep her, so I took her, and she was a blessing.
What kind of a dog was she?
She was a Jack Russell Beagle.
Okay, and then you decided to move here. And did you bring your dog with you?
No, I actually had to give her to some friends. There's a manager that worked across the street from me that took her, and as soon as I hopped on the Greyhound, I left her with him.
So that was the last you saw her?
Yeah, I came down here with no job, no place to stay, so I couldn't bring her along with me.
And then were you blessed right away when you came here? Did you get a job right away?
No, I walked around asking if people need help, looking everywhere. I've always done really well and been well liked by employers, and like working at convenience stores, and worked Papa John's for 6 years, and just various different jobs that I've done really good at. I thought I'd get a job no problem, and it took a while. After trying for a couple of weeks, I heard about the Contributor, and I worked it for a while.
And what is the Contributor?
It's actually a homeless newspaper.
What do you mean by homeless newspaper?
Newspaper about homelessness.
Okay, and are there articles in there written by homeless?
Yeah, they do take articles by homeless. They also have other writers. They also take poetry and artwork and all different kinds of stuff from the homeless.
Okay, so when you came here, you didn't have any family, you didn't have a vehicle, you didn't have a dog. Where did you sleep?
Well, for a while I slept wherever I could. I tried the Mission, but it just wasn't for me. It's pretty rough there, and I kind of wanted to be away from that element. So I'd find a bush somewhere, or sleep in a park, or just about anywhere I could find.
Were you ever scared?
No, not really. I don't know. Just God has been with me the whole way, and it was kind of an adventure at first. Only one time I ever felt nervous. I was looking for a place that they call Ken and Carol's, where you can go get your laundry done and take a shower and get something to eat. And I was walking around through the middle of the night trying to find it. Ended up walking through the projects. I was a little nervous then, but of course I prayed the whole way through, and actually the people I did see there were friendly.
Ken and Carol's is an awesome place, but I would agree with you. I've been there during the day, and at night it's not the best part of town. So what ultimately you got a place to live, and where did you start living?
I got involved with a ministry, started in part by another friend that was homeless at one time. Lambscroft Ministries, they actually had a gym in a church. They opened up 2 nights a week, put out bedding and served a meal. And I got involved with them and got into one of their houses at one point.
And is that where you're living now?
Yeah, I've actually been there for 5.5 years. 5 years with one brother, 4 years with another. So we've become family. I mean, we have one that's now been there a year. So.
And how about working? Are you working?
Actually, I'm working for a clinic that I was seen at when I was on the streets. That actually serves the homeless. And I drive a van for them, so it's really a blessing.
So you drive them to their appointments?
Right.
And do you like it?
For the most part, yes.
And I know they like you because you're easy to like. So now if we recap this, you were living in Ohio, you had a truck, you had a dog, you had a place to live until you became homeless. And then lost everything, moved here, had nothing, and now you have a job. You come over to my house to visit my dog. And
I didn't really lose everything in Ohio.
Okay.
I mean, of course, I lost most of my family. I sold my house, but eventually I got an apartment. So when I moved from Ohio to Nashville, I still had 2 jobs and an apartment and the dog.
Okay.
But I just walked away from all that.
Okay, you walked away from it.
Other than that, there was pretty much no other reason to stay there, and I wanted to come to Nashville, so.
So what was the hardest part about being on the streets?
Well, not always having a good night's sleep, and definitely trying to keep yourself clean.
Yeah,
And you don't have any place to store good food or prepare it, which I still ain't great at now, but
well,
it's easier than, at least if you have a refrigerator, you can eat, it's just not good always eating out of gas stations or restaurants, and actually when you don't have an income and you're just dependent on food stamps, which I was for a period of time, you can't buy prepared stuff. So you have to buy foods that are not prepared. Yeah.
So Erick, you lived in Ohio, you had a home, you had a vehicle, you had a dog. Now you have a home, you have a vehicle, you have a van, you have a job,
I almost have a dog too.
You have my dog, you share my dog with us. Yes, exactly. And so things have gotten much better.
Oh, absolutely. I have a new family.
Yes, and
a dog.
Erick, I've been blessed to have him spend a lot of time at my house. I get tickets to take people to the Predators hockey games, to the Sounds games. Sometimes
and they're still hanging in there.
They're still hanging in there. Sometimes to concerts we've gone to. Third Day we've seen Journey, we've seen Joan Jett, Casting Crowns many times, Chris Tomlin. And generous people out there have given tickets, so we've been able to go, and Erick's gone with. We've taken the homeless there, and just blessings. People have really blessed us. So Erick, I want to thank you for letting me interview you today, for letting people all over the world get to see the heart of someone who used to be homeless and is the same beautiful person that I met when you were homeless as you are now. The only difference is you're in 4 walls, but you're still very easy to love.
Thank you.
Not any different. There again, this is Erick Cunningham and Sandy Griffin from
and Bo.
Voices, and my dog Bo from Voices from the Streets.